Diarmuid ha fáilte ród go tuig Queally an so. I lear an éananig mar deirfa ag Scoil Aodha Willie Clancy. Inis dún fé dáit róchais agus conas a tháinig tú ar den geol ar dúis.
Go mín mágad, se go húnta bheith so. Is dúrn chuiling a gúlé domsa is as Cúil Aodha do bháthair, gobnat ní riordáin agus is Clíoch Meachair, Fiantán Ó Meachair, so bhí grá ag mothis mothirí don cheol agus tá Bertra Harris, Bertra Fúr agam agus bhí mi de fada seint le chéile sa bhaile. Well, ní le chéile soch bhí mi de géisle dí de friúla agus an céad cuioine tá go mar an geol an áíir na bheith teach go Scoil Aodha Willie Clancy mar bhain óg a freistal ar na rangana agus a bheith canas a chóir don chuirm cheolaí de Samhraidh. Aber mar bhuachalóg bhí sé speisialta bheith I Cúil Aodha chu speisialta son. Agus socha sin dúchas is tócha atá gom an geol ach tá sais eistear fada tre se bheith gom is tócha ní amach feiche sé ach tá tre se bheith géiste leanach a ceol de friúil agus fréimhethe gúlé ach tá sim gom ag sa cheol an bosca ar fud an dain an áire.
Cuine múntóirí bhí go an son ar bhíúir isáid na carach ag Scoil Aodha.
Scaoinam, an céad múntóir bhí gom na Browndown a bheaglaach agus bhí Brian O'Leary sa rang an bhliain céine. Ní rásach is tócha gros 8 mbliana d'aois hálann son sa far cuman luach le Scoil cultaí agus bhí Browndown a gom agus an son bhí Joe Searson a gom, bhí Josephine Marsh a gom, bhí Anne Conroy Burke a gom agus Colm Gannon. So éagsúlacht úntaach ó heh stíl múntóirta de agus stíl ceol, so I dachas úntaach.
Sin go déal, bhí Browndown ó beaglaach mar múntóir go hénig ar Scoil. Is ábhaite agus is seach anna speisialta nar ha lucht an cheol agus pobl an cheol go dain bailithe so tá sé sin le mothú fós sa lá tá nómh nach bhfuil.
Tá meascán úntaach daoine mo an son ar an bríomhsráid agus siúl is brean bheith siúil ó phríols go blands cúpla uair gach lá mar déit fa búla le éineann agus ar intú agsúlacht úntaach ceol leis tá na stílan ar fadan sa measca le na chéile se go húntaach le é a chlós.
Ok, an gasfá cúpla portóim mar thola?
Fuinna me tríal as gá riil a dála míos ó hafad de John Dwyer fear a chúla is cuioine me chloisian an so ag an churm cheol na bosca ceol ar an déirdín tá sé tarlaim den nómhaigh an cúplaúirt lig achas cuioinm John a chlosála molach ar bhí saoin le mo chlán agus an céad ceann na legan den tún cománta de róta Lisdoonvarna agus an dar ceann chum ar Joe O'Malley's favourite agus Joe O'Malley ba fear ó Chonamara a cha sé héle mastan agus tá aithne go mar a grathair Colm O'Malley tá na choní a Lúndan agus bhí annará cosú de Finbar so buna me trílas an gáchean so de róta Lisdoonvarna agus Joe O'Malley's favourite.
Yes, Diarmuid, yes. You mentioned there at the opening about your journey in music to this day, even though you're a young man, has been quite varied, and you've like any great traditional artist, you've absorbed a lot of the great players of the past and been inspired by their music, and then developed into something yourself. Talk us through that a little bit about the big influences on your own musical journey to date.
Well, I suppose it started from my parents, really. I could see the respect and the love they had for music, and as a child I think I tapped into that. There's kind of three main events every year. One of them was Gaeilge Diarmuid in Lisdoonvarna. Was always amazing. The concerts there, you'd hear some fantastic music. Scoil, Willie, Clancy was the other one, and then Oireachtas na Saona. There was an awful lot of variation in terms of different musicians and different people from different areas, and it was every year, so I was always kind of rooted in that, and then music became a hobby for me. I started on the BC accordion, but my auntie played the C-sharp D accordion, and I never was told how to do things on the accordion. I just kind of heard her doing it and I was trying to figure it out. It's so different, but then I realised that there were accordions in different tunings, and then I heard different musicians that influenced me, and I was always trying to copy them. So that was BC accordion at the start, so between primary school years, and then eventually I got a C-sharp D accordion, and I was able to learn different things in different keys from YouTube and from different CDs and albums. And then I got a Melodeon. So when I heard the Melodeon first, it was Johnny Connolly, that was my hero. I wanted to copy him. And then I moved on to somebody else like Joe Duran and tried to copy him. And in the last couple of years, I've been made aware of the music they have in Quebec, which is amazing, on the single row Melodeon especially. And then you meet people at festivals who have collections like the records. They talk about who they're listening to, and I remember as a teenager coming to, let's say, Fecal Festival or the Willie Clancy week, and you'd be talking about PJ Conlon and John Kimmell, so then you go away and you listen to them and you try and copy them. So there's a lot of variation in it, really, but it's great fun. Yeah.
It probably sums up how the continuum of traditional music, how it works. It's continually evolving, but it's through those. You describe it as copying, but that's actually part of the process to copy and try and equal the masters who've gone before you. And when you've done that, it gives you a sort of a launch pad for where you want to go yourself. Would that be an accurate summation of kind of where you are now?
Definitely. I mean, I'm kind of lucky as well that a lot of the people I've copied are impossible to imitate. So I pick up different things that they do, and then I can hear things in different tunes and implement that in my own way. Yeah.
You mentioned PJ Conlon there. It's incredible how 100 years later he seems to still have this extraordinary influence on the instrument and the approach to the instrument and the power in his playing, which was so evident even in that when they did the collection of his recordings that was published about 10 years ago, I think. It's fantastic. Is he somebody who would go to for source quite a lot, or?
Definitely, yeah. He's unsurpassed really in terms of single row playing.
Okay.
He was a dynamo, It's like you get a kick out of listening to his records because they only had one take back then, and you wouldn't know what was going on in their lives. Like he had to emigrate to New York and spent the rest of his life there.
They didn't have amplification, did they, for dances at the time? So you had to deliver.
Yeah, well, the interesting about PJ was he started, I'm not sure, I think the first accordion or Melodeon that he recorded on was one of the old Globes or the international Melodeons, but there's a point then where he got a Baldoni, an 8-voice single row Baldoni. I think it was 8 voices, it might be 6, but you hear in the records when he got the new machine, and I'm telling you one thing, he didn't need any extra amplification, like when you heard him going off on that. PJ's recordings, he did so much, and it's very subtle variations, and it's innovation really, isn't it, in a subtle way. There's so many of his recordings, but there's so many variations that he does with different tunes and different twists and stuff, and I'm always trying to kind of copy that. It's impossible because he did so much, You hear people talk about Michael Coleman in the same way, but I see PJ Conlon in the same way, and he only had 10 buttons.
10 buttons, yeah. Will you try another couple of tunes for us?
I might try one on the Melodeon,
Lovely.
seeing as we were talking about PJ.
Yeah.
What will I do? These are two tunes. His version of Scatter the Mud and Contentment as well. So I'll give
Lovely.
these a go.
Wonderful playing. It's easy to see why your stars, as they say, is rising within the traditional music world. It's something you've embraced as a musician. You were named Diarmuid Ó Meachair in 2021 by TG4. You have played professionally quite extensively to date, and you're now embarking on a new journey in your life. You're taking a period away from full-time employment to actually pursue music full-time for a while, are you? Talk to us a little bit about that and how you feel about it.
I suppose it's a big decision, and it's probably one I'm trying to put on the long finger a bit to think about, but I'm going to try and enjoy the summer first. I have a lot of gigs to do this summer, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm trying to have a bit more flexibility to do more gigs and abroad, and I want to travel a bit. I want to go to Quebec and I want to go to Louisiana. They have great Melodeon players there, and I want to travel and meet people and learn more. So that's really the main essence of the main reason behind taking the year out. But I really enjoy teaching, and I hope to do a mix of both if I can. Stay based in the great Cork city and keep the flag flying for the Rebels.
And do you enjoy playing with other musicians, ensemble playing? Tell us a little bit about what you're at the moment.
Yeah, so that's a new thing really, because I suppose like music for me was a hobby I did myself at home. So I was just always solo playing. So now playing with different people from different areas or different parts of the country, or people that come from different influences, let's say, I find it very fulfilling, and I learn a lot from it, and I find that it makes me a better musician. So like I've played a good bit with Frankie Gavin lately, and the mutual respect we have for PJ Conlon is a blessing really, and I find that really enjoyable. We really kind of have the same approach to tunes, and if you told me that a year ago, that I'd be saying that, I wouldn't believe you. So that's one thing. And then playing with different musicians at different festivals, you know.
Would you find you'd have to adjust your style somewhat for playing with certain people? You mentioned Frankie, and obviously you're both equally inspired by the music of Con. That would make it very easy, and you'd have a natural, to be, sympathetic understanding of what you're trying to achieve. Do you find when you're playing with some of the musicians that you would alter your style or playing?
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, definitely, I have to. Especially like the frustrating thing about accordions is all the different styles. It depends on who I'm playing with. Let's say if I'm playing with somebody who likes to play in G minor a lot, or fiddle, or a lot of fiddle players, BC accordion would be the most suitable for that. But then for other musicians, C sharp D is suitable for that, and then the Melodeon is suited for another cohort of musicians, let's say. But like they're loud instruments, so I don't want to overpower the person I'm playing with, so I do have to alter it, but I'm learning it bit by bit, you know.
You've made a number of recordings. Tell us about them.
Yeah, so I made 2 albums in the last, I've released 2 albums in the last 6 months, but they were both recorded in the same couple of days. So I went into the studio for the first time last summer, and I wasn't really sure of what to put on the first album. So once I started recording, I really enjoyed the process, so I couldn't stop. So of the tracks I had left over from the first album, I said, there was a pretty good Melodeon album there, so why not use it now? So the first one is in December. That's mostly 2-row accordion playing, so it's kind of paying tribute to the likes of John Dwyer, who really influenced me. So it's nice to have that album released now, so I can go off and experiment with other things. It's kind of documenting what I've been listening to and trying to learn in the last 15 years, let's say. And the new album then is mostly Melodeon. A lot of it is influenced by PJ Conlon or the great Matt McNulty, and a few John Kimmell tracks there just for good measure. And
you'll be exploring that music further, I suppose, during your time over there. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah, that's the plan anyways.
You're teaching here in Miltown, and I'm not sure what type of class you have, but if you're talking to a student, an ambitious young student on the box, and they were playing well, and you wanted to give them a piece of advice in terms of your own experience to date, what would you be telling them about music and about the accordion?
Listen to as many different musicians as you can, and don't just, let's say, I hear a lot of people labelling themselves as a BC player or a C sharp D player, but I always tell everyone it's like learning the scales on your instrument or holding it properly. If you learn, I started on the BC system, so that would give me the keys of D, G, A minor, E minor usually. But I always tell them, learn tunes in C, learn tunes in F, because it kind of, with the bellows movement as well, it kind of makes you more of a player, I think, because you can play more tunes in different keys. So that's what I would advise any young musician, is just to listen to the likes of Joe Duran and Finbar Dwyer and Joe Burke and Johnny Connolly and John Kimmell, PJ Conlon, and they're all so different, but they all play the same instrument. It's amazing, really. So that's the advice I'd give.
Will you try another couple of tunes for us?
I will. What will I play? I don't know why, but I'll try a John Kimmell piece. It's a medley of straight jigs that he recorded, I think, in 1904.
Brilliant.
I heard these from Joe Duran as well, so I'll give these a go.
Wonderful. Well done. Great stuff.
Thanks.
Great stuff. Uilleann pipers and box players are sort of very much focused on their own instrument. You talked a lot about the different styles of boxes, and they become quite insular about their about the instrument itself. When you listen to other instruments, other players, what other inspirations would you draw from?
As in other instruments?
Yeah, singers, and would you get inspiration and ideas from
massively. I mean, I'm lucky to have brothers and sisters that play other instruments, so that was around me when I was growing up. But
tell us about them.
So like learning different versions of tunes. Like my little brother's a piper, so I'm always picking up different versions from him. It's a huge advantage, when you go and play with other pipers, because you hear it, and like he hears things as well, and we share different, I suppose, different bits of tunes that catches our ears. Myself and my brother Eamon, especially. I've been influenced by it, and I listen a lot to fiddle music as well. I'm a huge fan of Seamus Connolly. His playing really strikes me, because there's very few recordings of him, as far as I know, but I'd say the recordings he made with Paddy O'Brien, I think his playing is brilliant. So yeah, I mean, there's loads of them. I could be naming people out all day for you, but yeah, hugely influenced by it. And that is advice I'd give accordion players as well, is to listen to other instruments. It's very important to do it.
What do you think the challenges are for traditional music today, in terms of what are the things you dislike or would raise a flag, and you sort of get concerned about, or things you hear?
The emphasis on All Ireland winners. I don't like that at all, and especially from a young age. I think sometimes.
Did you go in for competitions yourself?
I did, but like we were never members of any Comhaltas branch. There's no Comhaltas branch in Cúil Aodha, so we were always the ones with the long surname and the long address from the Gaeltacht, and everybody else was CC this and this, and then everybody else they were saying, who are these people? But I don't like. Even from a young age, I think musicians should be allowed space to develop, and I meet a lot of younger musicians in classes, and they talk about the people in their own age that win the All Ireland and seen as kind of celebrities from a really young age. I don't like that, because there should be a variation, and the regional styles are being lost as well because of it, because they're all playing the same tune that the All Ireland winner played, or if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
I think music is something that you can do for life.
Would you be competitive with yourself, though, would you?
I always, yeah. I'm my own worst critic, but that's because I have such respect for the musicians that influenced me. Like, I could never see myself surpassing the likes of PJ Conlon or Johnny Connolly or those kinds of musicians, because they're who I learned from, and I'm just trying to keep that going, if that makes sense. I'm in competition myself all the time, but I think that's a good thing at times, and other times it isn't as good. But yeah.
Well, we really enjoyed listening to you, listening to your music, and I'm going to ask you maybe for another set of tunes, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. I'll give it, I might play. I'll play two reels, Lord Gordon's and Miss Drury's. So Miss Drury's is a reel I learned from a recording of the great McNulty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lord Gordon's?
Lord Gordon's, I got that from a recording of PJ Hernan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a two-part version of it, so I'll give these a go. Gurmíl Mágat.
Well, hier met Hamid aan week als het straks gewoon gedaan etme en zo Queally zijn of aan week ik kom helemaal goed.
Go míle maith agaibh.